Hello everybody. Today we're going to finish off our witchy week and we're going to paint, I think, a witch's cauldron. Maybe some other things. We'll see how it goes. That's usually what happens. I start with an idea and then we kind of let things happen and see where things move us. So we're definitely going to do that today. We did this one last week, which turned out so cute. I loved it so much. And then other ones that I did this week include, I have all of the little cards. So I've got the witch's cat, which I love the fluffy effect on this. This turned out so stinking cute. I can't even. And then this was the bonus one that I posted this morning. We've got the witch please hat with something hiding underneath. I do like the idea of it being a little lizard. That's kind of a cute vibe. Oh, and I did two cats, obviously. I did this one and this one, which I think I liked this one better, which is why I posted this one. But we're going to be using watercolor postcards for today's tutorial. Again, we're going to do something like a witch's cauldron. Now, I did the mortar and pestle, which is probably pretty similar. So we'll probably do something like that, maybe on a bigger scale with more stuff coming out of it. And maybe I'll work in some lime greens and some purples on this one. I'm actually thinking I'm going to make the cauldron purple instead of black. That seems really fun. Anyway, yes, happy to see you, Blaine. So happy to see you. So we're going to finish off Witchy Week with some witchy illustration / painting. And then next week, we're going to move into some, I don't want to say tutorials. I want to say some compare and contrast videos with hot, cold, and rough press paper with 2 brands. I actually started working on that yesterday, and I think it's going to be real fun. So we're going to do that. Tomorrow I'm going live with Chelsea, and I'm painting toads, and she's painting frogs. But let's get started. So let me go through my supplies first. We've got my potentate paper. I'll pin that for you because that's what all of the paper is going to be on today. It's at this point, I think you have to pay for shipping. Yep, shipping, but the paper is fabulous. And they have hot press, they have cold press, and they have rough press. This is the cold press, and this is the rough press. It's really not that significantly different. But either way, both are in my shopping cart below, so if you want to check that out. I've been using mostly the rough press for all of my witchy stuff, but I'm just going to use this one today, I think. And then for paints, we're going to be using this palette today. This is my Artaco palette. I was using it all week on my tutorials, so I figured we could use that one. Hi, Alexis. I see you, friend. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I'll show you that one. That's the one that we're going to be using here. This is the 128 palette set, but they come in lots of different sets. And they're on a flash sale right now. So right now I'm using the 128. Yep, the 128. And that one is currently priced at, let's see, make sure I got it. Ooh, that's super cheap today. That's $29.99 for the set that I'm using today. The one that's more popular is $23.99. That's at 100 colors. The 50 colors is $20.99, but if you're getting the 100 colors for $23, that would be the one to get. And then the deluxe one, what does that come with? Oh, it comes with brushes too. Very nice. But yeah, so I just want to make sure you guys know what I'm working with. And then, of course, the last thing that you probably are going to want to know right away is the brushes that I'm using. And today's brushes are going to be these Fumui brushes, which Fumui is a higher end brush set. But honestly, they're probably, this set I just got this week, and they're my favorite right now. I'm going to be using them all the time, I think, just because I love them so much. But I will show you real quickly in the pin what this one looks like. And this one I don't think is on sale. So, or no, it is. It's 21% off. And the shipping is free, which is excellent. And the company is just genuinely super duper nice. So these are the products I'm going to be using today right now. And then as things change, I will let you know. And if I were going to give you any tip, one tip in all of the tips, it would be to get yourself, if you're going to paint, get yourself a water bottle with a lid and a straw on it. Otherwise, you're going to be dipping your paintbrush in it. And I have been known to do that. So if I occasionally pause, it's because I'm using my, oh, and Buffalo Bills Day. We have to have the red and blue. I live in Buffalo, so We're really cheering on those Bills today. Sorry, Jet fans. It's a Bills day today here. Okay, so let's do some cauldron stuff. I did the mortar and pestle yesterday. I think I'm just going to use that as my resource, like this one here. I think I'm just going to make it look something like this. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, but you're just not going to see the mortar in it or the pestle or what the pestle. You're not going to see the pestle in it. You're going to see a bigger version of this, and it's just not going to sit on a shelf. And then maybe I'll do some other stuff around it. All right, let me zoom in here like this. And I've got a round size 8 and a round size 2 today. So I'm going to start with the 8 to get some of those flat washes down first. And then I'm really going to lean into a purple little cauldron here today. And then also, just so you know, I generally work with resources. I don't often, especially with this kind of stuff, do it off the top of my head unless I'm doing flowers. Flowers I will do off the top of my head. So over here, I'm just kind of scrolling through looking for a cauldron that looks fairly easy to do, not just for me, but for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys like to do these things and I want to make something that's accessible. Okay, so I will do my best to try and create something. I do like the handles on that one. That's kind of cute. And then we'll decide what we're going to put in. Oh, look at the little eyeballs on that one. That's super cute. Lots of things. Ooh, and that one's kind of cute where they're pouring the bottle in there. All the things. We're going to try all the things. Good morning, Giota. Hi, Devin. All right. What did you order, Devin? What did you order? The brushes? The brushes. Oh, my God. Though I should tell you, a little trick with these brushes. Fumui brushes need to be soaked a little bit first. They need to be soaked a little bit. So, and generally, I just put them in warm water for about 10 minutes. Like, not like blazing hot, but pretty warm. And then I kind of go in and it's because there's like a glue on top of these brushes that holds them stiff when they're first packaged. And so when they come out, they don't hold the water very well unless the glue has kind of come off. Oh, this striper is so good. Yeah, I do think soaking first is important. And it doesn't need to be super long, but I do think it's important. All right, so let's go with some fun colors. And then I might just build this up as I go with darker colors. So I'm just going to start with the top of my cauldron. And then I'm just going to kind of build underneath that as I go. I do sketch sometimes. I do have a sketchbook. I'm not using it today. Today I'm just going in and we're hoping for the best, friends. So if things go badly, I'm blaming all of you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is not opera pink. You know I would never do such a thing. Actually, this is my Art Deco paint palette. And I'm just picking whatever is in the pan. I'm not really paying attention to color names. I would say that's probably my biggest flaw is I don't pay very close attention to color names, probably like I should. Maybe that's just I don't have an art background. Everything I do is based on what I've taught myself. So I would imagine that because of that, most of my art tends to be pretty on the fly. But because I teach in real life, I feel like I'm pretty good at teaching my on-the-fly thinking to people. So again, we're just building in all of this water onto the sides. You don't want to keep dipping into your paint every time with watercolor. You want to add water and blend it out. So usually what I do is I grab it out of the pan, which again, not very precious of me, I should say. Like I'm not paying attention to all of my, what would you call it, ratios. But what I do is I usually go in, I go and outline it and then drag that outline in with water and then go into the areas where the parts don't touch and add a bit more pigment to kind of create an impression of some shadow. And we'll build that up a little bit more as we're working. I have so many of your tutorials from this week to catch up on today. Oh, Cindy, you have no idea. I've honestly been like, I've been busting my buns trying to get all of these tutorials out because they're such a hit. And I love that they're such a hit, but it's a lot. This week, actually, I was just saying, is going to be let's do an investigation on watercolor paper. And it's going to be about hot, cold, and rough press. And if it's a hit, then I'll do some more because there's no way for me to do them all at once. There's so many paper companies. And so what I'm doing is I'm comparing just the papers, Bauhung, Masters, and Hana Mula paper. So it's the German brand versus the Chinese brand. And I'm just going to do the same, like it's going to be pumpkin just to keep in season. And you're going to show you the differences kind of between the two as I work through them. So that's the plan this week anyways. Hi, James. Aw, Cindy, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people have been, the paper cards compare. Oh, yeah, I can tell you in a second. A lot of people have been asking me about paper because paper is very difficult to measure when you're buying it. Like you just don't know what you're buying, especially if you don't know the difference. And this paper today is the cold press, and the cold press comes in the green tin. And the best part about these papers, outside of them being great paper, is that they have rounded corners. So whether you want to use them for framing or you want to send them as cards or whatever you're doing, even if you fold them and make them like little gift tags or something, they've got the rounded corners on them. So that's really nice. But yeah, anyhoodle, this is cold press and this is the rough press. So there really is not that significant much of a difference. So if one happens to be sold out, this is the cold, this is the rough. It's a little bit more textured and has a little bit more intent to it. This one looks a little bit more knitted, but I feel like they feel exactly the same as I'm working on them. So just to be clear, if the green tin is sold out and there's yellow tin, it's like working on the same paper. The only tin I don't buy very much is the blue tin, and that's just because it's hot press. And many of you know how I feel about hot press. Okay, so I really liked the bottle. And the other thing is too, I'm looking at this and it's feeling a little bit too rounded. So I'm actually gonna extend this out a little bit. And I'm going to pull in just a little bit more of a width on this. I just don't want it to be tucked in that much. So I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. And it looks a little bit like there's like a little bit of line blue like here. And that's easy to blend out. Like you can really go in. Watercolor is far more malleable than I think a lot of people realize. So I am going to expand this out just a little bit more on the sides. But then now I've got this huge space on the top. So I need to think about what I want to put up there. I'm also going to probably decorate the cauldron as we go. So Devin, does that explain the card situation for you? Did I answer that for you? Yeah, so Cindy, if the green is sold out, get the yellow. Loft, is Loft a paper brand? Is that the, I'm trying to think, is Loft the, it's from Michael's, right? I don't want to get yelled at by TikTok, but I think that's where that's from, right? Am I wrong, Devin? Yeah, I would say the green and yellow are the same tin. Is there an amount to get free? Of course there is, half dome dust. There always is. There always is. These are right now, here, I'll pin them for you guys because I know you guys have questions about them. Right now they are $7.74 a container and you get 24 cards in a container. And honestly, like I've got so many containers filled with cards. It's a really great place to put my cards in a container. And honestly, like I've got so many containers filled with cards. It's a really great place to put my art when I don't have a place to put it. So like you could see I've got like a turtle in here. I've got my flower paintings in here. Like I've got so many little cards in here. And sometimes I just use them as like the bases of stickers. So then I just keep them in here and store them and stack them on top of each other. Here, I'll show you really quickly. You ready? Like over here in my bookshelf, do you see the stacks? Do you see the stacks of them? That's where I keep all of my little postcard arts. You could see, obviously, I prefer the green, but that was last season. This season, I think I'm more into the rough press, which is the yellow tin. At least all of the witchy paintings I've done this week have been that. All right, let's just keep this simple. I'm not going to go crazy on this. Maybe we'll do some decorations on the cauldron, but let's just create some really fun loose watercolor swirls on top. I'm going to start with yellow because I almost always start with yellow when I'm creating any sort of green anything. I don't know, it just feels like a really great way to build up color. So I'm going in pretty light, but because yellow is like the weakest of all of the colors, it kind of is easy to build up on. So I'm going to do that big kind of swirly coming out of the top up there. Hi, Chris. Use sound a box for my trinkets. Yes, also trinkets. So here's my opinion on the paper. If you buy a pad of paper from Meeden, like a decent sized pad, like a regular, like I would say, whether it's a 7x10 or a 9x12, you're probably going to pay $25 to $30 for that pad. You're probably going to get anywhere from 12 to 24 sheets with that. Getting these small ones, and these are 100% cotton. Let's be clear on that too. For $7.74 to get a pack of them, of 24 of them for $7.74, I would buy 4 packs just to get over the 30, and I would use them all. I used them all last year, obviously, or I wouldn't have all of those tins over there. I honestly use them more for the holidays though, so let me just preface that. I use them for the holidays all the time. They're great for gift cards on top of gifts. Yes, this one, I did not love this one though, Cindy. This one was not my favorite. I had all sorts of mess ups on it, and it wasn't my favorite. I had that one ready when you had asked me about a turtle painting, and I'm like, I'm not giving her that. That's not my favorite. I don't like it. I'm talking so much. I get so excited about art supplies. It's ridiculous. I'm going to build up some other layers kind of in here as well. The idea that they're kind of swirling around and behind each other, I know it looks like flames right now, but it's not going to be flames. We're going to build this up and make it a little bit more limey in color because this palette's so big, I might as well just use some of these colors, right? So I've got this real limey color that feels very, very Halloween-y. So we're just going to add that in here. This is already wet. I'm just building it over on top of the yellow that's already there, and then leaving some of the yellow alone. Like let it be there, let it sit underneath a little bit, and just kind of play with the mixtures and let it kind of blend together. Like that already gives off this like glowy kind of cool vibe, right? Let's see, I don't want to miss all these comments. You guys are so active today. I love it. Oh, thanks. Let's see. Well, you know what it is? I think, okay, so what I consider not great, someone's going to think differently because of their own personal progress on their art journey, right? So, sorry, coffee break. So for me, what I know I can do, like the one I sent, so Cindy, she commissioned a turtle from me, and so I painted her a turtle. I love the turtle that I sent Cindy. Love it, love it, love it. Or I wouldn't have given it to her. I would have done it again until I liked it. This, for me, I had to cut out around the edges, partially because what I did was I tried to do some blue like water around it, and I hated the water so much that I cut this all out. And now I just use it as a reference. So I actually stick this in here because I thought the format of it was pretty good. I just didn't like how it looked so messy when it was done. Like that was not my favorite part. So, all right. Oh, and Sam, I've got new stickers coming for people who are in my fan club. I was just working on those today. They will be like spooky-ish. I will hopefully get them up this week, if not today. So if you are not part of my fan club, anytime I go live, there are special stickers for my fan club to use during live that are just super duper fun. Right now they're pigeons, but we're gonna like amp up the pigeon vibe a little bit with some spookiness, some spooky qualities. All right. And that looks super bright on here. That's pretty cool. Look how bright that green is. And I don't think I'm going to build this up to the same height as over here. I think having that kind of, what's the math term for like a map that kind of jumps and then drops? Like it's all, anytime I look at my TikTok stats, I'm like, oh, that's what it kind of looks like. I have a jump at the beginning and it drops down. I feel like there's a name for it though. A skew. The paints I'm using today are our Teco paints. It's a 128 palette. All of these are shimmers for the most part. All of these are, well, this is a mixture of shimmers, but there's some 28 palette. All of these are shimmers for the most part. All of these are, well, this is a mixture of shimmers, but there's some, what do you call them, neons? I like to call them highlighters. And then over here we have pastels. So, all right, I'm going to build up this purple color a little bit more because that's my base and I really went to a darker purple. So let's take another purple in my palette. Again, I don't care what purple you use. Use what makes you happy, use what calls to you. What I would say is I always start with a lighter color first. So a lighter tone of purple would be good. And making sure that you've got some transparency on it. So don't keep picking up paint. Like don't keep going in and grabbing more paint. Let the brush kind of throw out as much of the paint that it's got in it. And these Fumui brushes hold the paint for a long, long time, which is pretty great. And then Obviously, you can see that this is a little bit wet, so anytime I add another color into it, I think this is a darker purple, I'm not even sure, we'll find out. It's gonna spread a little bit because that's what watercolor does. And I'm gonna add some down here in the little bottoms of this. And then definitely some here. And then don't repaint everything you've already painted. Only add paint to the bits and parts that have water in them and where you want there to be shadow. I like leaving this a little bit light so I can put in some more designs over the top of the cauldron when I'm done. All right, make sure we say I love all of the little Pidgey art people. And also, if you join my little art family, we are called the Picassos since I'm Fluffy Pigeon Art, which I just thought was a really fun play on words. So make sure that at the top in the left-hand corner, there's a heart me up there. And that's really, honestly, I think it helps creators more than it helps me. I actually heard that from one of the TikTok people the other day. I don't want to say TikTok person. She's someone who's in contact with TikTok people. Her name's Dr. Sarah, and she often talks about all of the things that TikTok pays attention to and how to grow as a content creator. And she said that TikTok, for a creator like me going live right now, they pay more attention to the interaction in the comments than they do necessarily to me getting heart me's, but they pay attention to your activity in the heart me's more than they pay attention to it the other way, which I find very interesting. So if you're interested and you're a content creator and you want to know more about how to be a stronger content creator, like more followers, all of that stuff, there are two people, well, maybe three. There are two people I would recommend spending time following. Dr. Sarah is one of them. She does a lot of live content and provides lots of really great information through her lives. And the other one would be Lana, the TikTok coach. I have learned so much from Lana and her style of content information. She is fabulous and I've learned so much from her. I give her credit for all of, I don't think I would have started tutorials if she hadn't made some suggestions to content creators about the value of 60-second posting and also the idea that people are here to learn something or to gain something. And so we have to be selfless creators a little bit. We got to provide stuff for people. And I think that has really changed my mindset a lot. So, oh, Cindy, you just take care of you, honey. I just love having you here either way. Okay. So I'm going to keep adding a little bit more greens in here and build this up. And then I'm going to go back into that cauldron. So I kind of go back and forth as I'm working and really just kind of playing with where is there water? Where is there not water? How much line work do I want? Where do I want there to be shadows? Do I want there to be shadows? Or is it just instinct? Some of it's just instinct. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of instinct here at this point. I might even add some bubbles at the bottom of these green flames when I'm done. And I'm actually thinking of putting handles on this. Let me see. I want to look at some cauldrons for a second. So if you're painting along with me, I'm just taking a pause. You can keep going. So these cauldrons, this one has handles on it. This one has handles that kind of stick out a little bit more. This one has the top handle over it. I don't think I can do that one right now. Or if I do, it needs to be kind of leaned down, kind of like it's hanging down. I might just do the handles. The handles might be the best idea. So if you're ever where do you get inspired? Generally what I do is I look through Pinterest. I look at the images. I pick out things that I like. So the green top, I wanted to have a green top. Does mine look like that? No, but it's inspired by that, right? But if you're a beginning artist and you don't know where to start or what to do, copy away. You're not making money off of copying someone else's stuff while you're learning, As long as you're not intentionally trying to sell someone else's illustrations as your own, you're fine. It's totally fine. We're all learning. You don't learn from your head. You learn by copying other people. Everybody learns that way. And when you finally do start to feel like you're authentically creating your own work, that's when, you don't need all of the resources. For me, I feel pretty good about painting peonies without a reference. That being said, sometimes I feel like I need one just to kind of be inspired to do something new. So these handles are a little wonky. I'm not going to worry about it. If you're painting with me, yours are going to be wonky too. And that's okay. Okay. I love those handles. Those handles are good. I think that's excellent. Okay. Just making sure I'm hitting all these comments in here. Yes, perfect. Love it. You guys are all great. Thanks for all the follows. Fabulous. Okay. I'm gonna hit this with my dryer. Not everybody needs a dryer. Not everyone should get a dryer. I do because it's convenient for me when I'm painting live with people to have this out. It also gives people a chance to kind of keep painting or doing their thing without feeling like I'm rushing. Admittedly, I am a fast creator. So sometimes I move too quickly. And honestly, it's a means of survival for me. I have kids, I have dogs. I have a lot happening in my house. So when I first started painting, I had to paint fast. And it just continued to be a practice. So this is the heat gun I'm currently using. And I love it. I've had it for about 3 years now. Still going strong. George Clooney is very busy today. George Clooney, so yesterday we went apple picking, and George Clooney, aka my husband, not actually George Clooney, we picked tons of apples. He is a apple fiend. He's loved apples for as long as I've known him, like connoisseur, very specific about his apple love. Right now in the kitchen, I think we have apple butter, apple crisp, apple cider, and what else? Oh, apple pie filling happening in there. And I'm all for it as long as he does the laundry later, because I need him to do the laundry. I've done the laundry for the last 6 weeks, and I need some help in that department, and he promised he would. So that being said, the house smells amazing. It smells like cinnamon and cloves. And he gets so happy around this time of year. Because not only can he decorate for Halloween, all the cool Halloween things, he can also do all of the apple things, which he loves so much. So much. All right. So in drying this, I can now do another layer that has a bit more, that gives me an opportunity to see how light this is going to dry. And then see how I'm leaving this space kind of open. That's so later when I go in and create some decorations on top of this cauldron, I can it's still very visible even if I choose a lighter paint. I'm still darkening some of this up though as I go, because I do want it to be darker than it is. So I just keep kind of leaning into these areas and just adding more. And here maybe it's too light, it looks kind of like a sticker, so I just wash over it real quick, soften up that hard edge with some water, and then it doesn't look like it's a sticker or where a sticker used to be, kind of like that. And then let's see, we're going to add a little bit more of this tone here to the cauldron top. And then I think I'm going to try and do it's a chance. I don't know if this is going to go well. I'm going to try and do some bubbles on top of this right here. So I am going to, wait, is this my small? No, this is my size. What size is this? This is my size 8. So I am now moving over to my size 2. And this is for some more detail work. So because I've got all of the main components here, I can kind of put that in. What I might do too, I'm thinking of putting a spider over here in this corner, hanging off a web. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure yet. I was just thinking of it right now. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's so delicious and amazing. Though admittedly, I did that whole apple week where, you guys saw me painting all of those apple tutorials. Apples are not my favorite. I like apples, they're fine, but they're not my favorite. Okay, so let's go in and see if I can make some bubbles here. I don't know if this is going to be a thing. If I don't like it, I'll just shade it over. And what I mean by that is I'll just add water and mix it around. That actually doesn't look bad, but I think I do need to fill these in a little bit. And then I might need to lift some paint out of them. Let's see here. Maybe add some different tones as well as I'm looking at it. So this is just kind of, I just got some green on my finger. My goal here is to create a bubbling effect underneath where all of this smoke and whatever it is coming out of the cauldron. So I'm trying to decide how to do that. Like I'm kind of in the midst of thinking here. So as I'm working and I'm talking, just know that I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. I'm like, what's happening? What am I doing? I do think I want there to be a darker tone under each bubble, or because then I want the light to be on the top of the bubble because it's closer to potentially a light source. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up maybe a darker tone of green and kind of place it underneath, like in a curve, like that. Not so sure yet. Not so sure yet. Maybe that's not the right green. Maybe I need to use a blue instead. Let's see. I might want to do is I might want to dry this actually, because I'm kind of going in wet on wet a little bit here. And just kind of hoping for the best. It's kind of giving off the vibes, yeah? It looks kind of like bubbles. And if this is not for you, if you're like, oh, Christine, this is not working for me, then just skip it. Like, you don't need to do it. Don't feel obligated. I'm going to create some bubbles kind of coming off like they're floating away. It looks okay. I don't mind it. Maybe I just need to let it dry. I keep telling myself that. I'm definitely going to need to darken up right here, like right along this edge. I'm going to soften that up because that's going to need to be like a shadowish kind of area there. Maybe add some blue. I know you're like, why would you put blue on there? But let's see. I just need a darker color. I'm going to blow dry. I need to blow dry it just to kind of figure out where it's going because I do like it. But I need to just dry it up a little bit here. And then while I'm doing this, I'm going to try and set up let me see if I can set up a poll, because I would love to do a poll to see how you think we should decorate the cauldron. So let's do what? Bye. Okay. I'm debating on putting a skull. Or let's see some options. Let me look up some options while I'm letting this dry for a second. Okay, so based on what I'm looking at here, all the things, all the little cauldron things. I could do a skull. I thought about doing that. I could do the little hexy star thing. I could do like these like almost like galaxy, like little stars all over it. I could do that. Let's see. I like the galaxy, like little stars all over it. I could do that. Let's see. I like the star idea a little bit. This one's got like the skull too. I also talked about doing a spider web on it, didn't I? I also do like these little decorations on the edge of this one here. Like that's kind of cool. It kind of gives it an extra stylized look at it. There's not a ton here. There's not a ton of different designs. The moons are kind of cool. Maybe we do the moons. The moons would be easy. And then I could still do the star. This one's got the eyeball. Did you guys see this one? This one's got an eyeball sticking out of it, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. All right, I'm thinking the moons might be a cool thing to try. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to set up a poll and let's do happy face moon, smiley face skull. So happy face moon, smiley face skull. Ooh, really? You've got a cat back there? I love that. I love that so much. Isn't that funny how watercolor does that sometimes? Ooh, Celtic knots. I'm seeing ideas here. People like the moons right now. I might use a bright yellow behind the flames. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay, so once again, are we doing, I think we're going to do either moon. Idea. That's a good idea. Okay, so once again, are we doing, I think we're going to do either moons or some sort of moons and skulls or skulls. So moons if you're smiley face, skulls if you're a sad face. Because, you know, skulls are sad and dying. Moon cool, and I love seeing them in the sky. They're pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to close up my heat gun here because I don't think I'm going to use it right now, but. Okay, I'm going to close up my heat gun here because I don't think I'm going to use it right now, but. All right, we got people picking moon. I think it's going to be moon in just a second here. All right, so moons is a smiley face. All right, we got people picking moon. I think it's going to be moon in just a second here. All right, so moons is a smiley face and sad face is a skull. So whichever one you put in the text is going to determine what's coming next. And while that's happening, I'm going to put some of that yellow highlight in the background here. Oh, there we go. See? Such a good idea. Those yellow highlights. Especially in the background because it's like glowing, right? Especially in the background because it's like glowing, right? Little stars. Well, then that tells me we came up with a great idea and there's not a lot out there for it. Okay, so well, then that tells me we came up with a great idea and there's not a lot out there for it. Okay, so let's like that. And I'll do it out here. Like that. And I'll do it out here. And then a little bit here. Just to give it a little bit of shadow like that. Am I frozen? Hold on. You're welcome. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm on the right server. Hold on. Hold on. You're welcome. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm on the right server. Hold on a sec. All right, I'm back. Let me know if you're still frozen and lagging. Hopefully this will be a little bit better. I switched over the server I was using. Not really the server, the Wi-Fi. We have two different Wi-Fis running. I don't know why. My husband has it set up that way. I think because he's bought a couple of extra, what do you call them? Like to increase our speed and our routers and all that kind of stuff. So I apologize for that. That's probably why I dropped off or froze for a little bit. So I appreciate you guys telling me because that happens sometimes where the system just automatically logs me into something else. And so do you see by me adding this color, it has now, like, even in the shadow and areas, it now feels a bit more cohesive. Even though I went in super dark and you were probably like, that feels really dark, Christine. It's totally okay. We're just going to add watery layers here, not repainting the whole thing, just kind of building up some of these parts to give it more shadows and adding water. So generally I'll put paint down and then I'll try and move it around with water. That's generally what I do. Even here, where I added those sharper lines, I'm still going to add some water there to soften up those hard paint lines. So you can kind of see that right there. Okay. And then let's lift off a little bit of that just to give it a bit more interest. I do it over here too, so it's not so heavy. Just around there a little bit. And then what I do is, usually I dip my water if I'm cleaning it off and I want to lift some paint. I'll squeeze the water out of the brush very lightly with my finger. It gets my finger wet. You can use paper towel too, but I feel like I have more control over how the lift goes. And I get my fingers dirty, but I don't care. And I just like that look. Now you've got kind of a moon inside of a moon. And I have a little bit of paint on my fingers, but it's not bad. Okay. I don't think I need too much more. I think right now it's about just blending everything together and making sure the shadows aren't just very stark lines. So I'm going to go in a few more times. I'm going to build up the shadow underneath here where its little stumpy legs are. And there. And then what I will do also is I think I'm going to add some little stars, like little polka dot stars, kind of around the cauldron. And where it's wet, it is going to blend. And I didn't change the tone as I moved into those shadowy areas because I knew that it would blend, and that's okay. I love that. That's super pretty. Thanks for all the follows and hangs. I love it all so much. And I love the top of this. That green is super cool. All right. Now remember how we talked about those bubbles and how I wanted to kind of build them up a little bit? I still want to build up some more over here on the side. I'm hoping now that it's a little drier, I can do that. So the goal here is to give off a bubbling cauldron kind of a vibe. And then the flames in the background. The witchy flames, as it were. Also, I still want to blend this out a little bit more. So I'm just adding more water. I just don't want that shadow line to be so stark right there. I don't mind it here as much. But this one I want to blend in more. I want that to be dark on that side a little bit more too, since that seems to be where most of the shadow probably is. And a lot of it's just instinct after a while. You keep building up. So generally, and it's not that you can't start dark, you certainly can, but it's generally pick the color that's the lightest first, and then kind of build up those tones. Like that. And you're seeing I'm kind of wiping out some of those stars, and that's okay. Okay. So I'm gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna build up some extra details in ink on the top. So let me go ahead and get my heat gun. I think this is mostly done. And what you could also do is you could go in over the top with what's called bleed-proof white and add some like white details or contrast on here as well if you want to. And actually what I think I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna grab some of my water-soluble pastel crayons. These are from iCrayon. They're very similar in style to the Caran d'Ache crayons. Both are great. I feel like both have their uses. I have a whole ton of Caran d'Ache crayons over here. These are the ones. These are the originals, but these are more expensive. These are much cheaper. And I just use these more because I want cheaper accessibility for my peeps. Okay, so I'm going to go in with maybe this little bit of green. Definitely love using the pink over the top. Maybe in here a little bit of this light purple. Let's go with that and see where it goes. And these are, it's number 23 in my shop. This is, let me just make sure what the price is on this one today, because the prices change every time I come on here. So the classic is $12.99. That's the classic size that's 12 crayons is $12.99. The classic size that's 25 crayons is $19.99. Shipping is $5 or free over 50, and the one that's the European one. I would love to try that one. That one's $19.99. I don't have that one, but I love all the muted colors on that one. So just so you know, all of the things. This is going to kind of, my goal here is to actually lighten up some of this. So what I do is I usually kind of go over it and it creates a cool texture over the top. And I go in different spots. And you could blend this with water if you want. I just love the texture it creates. And then I'm going to add some pink too. And notice I'm coloring over the moon, which is totally fine. It just looks more interesting by putting this stuff on top. You could probably use wax crayons. This is just water soluble, which I almost use. Everything I use is almost all potentially can be impacted with water. Like if I put water on top of it, it could blend and move and do all the things. Okay. And then let's see. I am afraid if I put any other colors in here, it's going to darken it up. And I love those fluorescents so much. So I think that's going to be good for the crayons for right now. And then what else do I want to do? I definitely want to use my ink, but I don't, maybe no ink today. Well, let's just do pencil today. I'm just going to use pencil. I usually use my shuttle art pens, but this has got such a textured vibe with the crayons. So I think I'm just going to use my watercolor pencils. Now you can use whatever pencils, crayons, pens that you'd like. I do like going over and darkening things up. Make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. It just kind of brings out the sharpness and the structure back to the piece. It is not a requirement. It's what I like to do. If I'm not doing it in colored pencil, I'm doing it with ink. And sometimes a lot of people who are like super watercolory will do all of the details in just dry brush watercolor, which is totally cool too. You could also change up the colors here, but I like a sharp black. And I don't outline everything. You're going to see that I outline some of the curves and the curls, but I don't do everything. And notice I'm also adding in curls where they did not exist before, because why not? It's my opportunity to add something to the structure of the piece that maybe I did not do when I first started. So you can kind of see those smoky flames, those fluorescent flames a little bit more than you could before. And then down here, I would do the same thing with all of the bubbles coming out of this cauldron. What I should have thought of, I should have put some more bubbles kind of coming down over the edge here. I didn't really think about that. I don't know if I could do that now though. And you don't have to outline all the bubbles. You can do just some of them. You can do the edges of them. You can do the tops. But notice I'm just kind of leaving some of them alone. I'm not gone to, girl. I was just thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. You did it? What did you do, Ashton? What did you do? Did you do this painting? Did you use colored pencils? What did you do? Tell me. Also, you know what would be really good on this is shimmers. Shimmers would be really good on this. Especially, well, in all of it, to be quite honest. Like, if I put maybe I'll put a shimmer on the moon. Let me think. I need to think about that for a second. I think I could still do it. Even though I've added watercolor to this, I think it'll still work. I think I could probably put it on those two spots and still have it be really cool. Just looking here, making sure everything is good. Okay, so we've got that. And then last bits, I'm going to shimmer it, guys. I just have to decide what shimmers I'm going to use. Let me see. Okay, so these are my shimmers. These are all handmade shimmers. I could use this palette for shimmers, by the way. This has all kinds of shimmers in it. Maybe I should just do that. Let me just do that, because then you can see what the shimmers on this palette look like, just because it makes sense. It makes more sense than doing the handmaids. Okay, so if I'm looking, I've got like the purpley shimmers here. I've got that. I could maybe do some black shimmers. Let's try the black shimmers and see how it looks. What? There's no hair ties around the house? Anywhere? That seems unlikely. Did you check the bathroom floor? Because there are usually lots of hair ties over there. I know I saw some on the shelves in there this morning. Check again, because I'm pretty sure it's there. All right, so just adding. And if I don't like it, I can always lift most of it out, and then it'll still look a little shimmery underneath. Okay, so I went over the moon with that. Let's do it again. I'm using the black in the palette. I'm gonna add a little bit up there, and a little bit down there, and a little bit up there. Okay. Just moving it around a little bit. Even though I already colored over it. Okay, it's our, oh yes, look at that already. Well, now I have to use it in the stars too. So let me go around and redo some of those stars again anyways. You guys see that? I'm sorry. I realized you saw more of my desk than you were seeing of my painting. That's not helpful. Does anyone have any questions about the supplies? Thanks, Devin. I do sometimes. I have a local vendor where I sell my art. And then if someone DMs me about a particular artwork, I will consider it, though I don't do NFTs because that's just not my thing. But yeah, occasionally I do.
I picked an apple.
That is not an apple, that is a cat. All right, and that looks pretty good. I want to add a bit more shimmer up here. So let's actually do a little bit of the purple shimmer and see how it looks.
The apple moved.
Just keep in mind that the texture that I put over the top is watercolor, so it will blend.
Find any down here.
Okay, and then I don't want to really add anything else. I'm not giving you my hair tie.
Just need to borrow it.
You're not taking my hair tie. I need it. For my face needs me to have this hair tie in. Okay, we'll use this green. This green's got a bit of a shimmer to it. I mean, if you're going to put it down here, you should probably put it in a couple other spots, right? Am I overdoing it? Maybe. Possibly. Sorry, my daughter's asking for hair ties, everybody, and I'm not giving her mine. At least not right now. Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun one more time. I don't even know why I put these pencils on here. Silly me. All right, so let me hit this with the heat gun one more time, and then we will call it finished. I do post this on YouTube. I absolutely do, Lindsay. It's Lindsay or Linza. I don't know. Linza Luhu. I absolutely do. Real time, no editing. I just post it because I don't have a ton of time. This is not my full-time job. My full-time job is I am a middle school math teacher. So my weekends are this. It's creating content and all the video tutorials. That's what my weekend looks like usually after we get some family time. But yeah. Okay. So let's see if we can see that shimmer at all. I don't know if you can see it in this light. Let me see. Not real good. What about up here? I don't think that's enough. Friends, it should be much more shimmery. Like I'm looking at, I can kind of see it. All right, I need to see shimmer. So let me see if I can find a handmade shimmer that's gonna have more of an impact. Let's see. Let's use, ooh, what is this one? I almost dropped it. All right, let's use Banshee. Banshee is a handmade shimmer. It's the person who made this no longer makes this. So I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just telling you what it is. And this is coal. This one is a black one. So let's look at it on paper first and then decide. And then this one is Fallen Stars. And what is this one? This one is Fireflies. This one's more blue though. I don't think I'm going to use that one. All right, let's go with that and see where it goes. And then maybe this green. This does make me think, though, I need like a really bright fluorescent shimmer color because I have golds, but that's not going to vibe with that so much. So let me test this out on another piece of paper. Let's do it on the back of this one. So this is hot press on the back here. Hot press is smooth. So if you're like, hey, what's the difference between hot press and cold press? Hot press is smooth paper. Cold press is not smooth. It's more textured. So this is the kohl. I can see myself probably using the kohl. But you should know that generally these paints need to go over another color. It's not that they can't be by themselves, but they generally are not super pigmented in color. They have some pigment, but the pigments are generally, it's more about the colors than it, or the shimmers than it is about the pigment. This one feels pretty much the same. This one I think is just gonna have more gold in it. All right, let's leave that one. That one actually looks like it has glitter in it. And then we've also got the Banshee one. This one is gonna, I think, give the most Halloween of the vibes because it's got like a purple tone to it. Let's see. Oh, I don't know, friends. These look pretty similar. This one does have a bit more of a purple tone. Okay, so let's dry them, see where they dry, and then we'll add them to the cauldron. It's so satisfying to watch the paint move under the heat. And generally, you can dry your paint with a heat gun in about 10 to 20 seconds. Okay. It is, isn't it? Okay. So this, look at that kohl. Oh my God. That might be the one. Okay. So this one, I want to make sure you guys can see it. This one's definitely got some sparkle in it. It's got some gold sparkle. That one is, I can't remember the name of her company. It's Fallen Stars. I want to say it's Reverie. She's an online, she has her own website. But that's this one. So that's the Reverie, Fallen Stars. And this one right here is the kohl. So it's got more of a textured vibe to it, which I kind of like. And then also the Banshee. This is that one where it's got some purple undertones. You can kind of see the, do you see that? Do you see that like purple haze? That's cool. All right. I think I might just use the Banshee. It's not going to be super sparkly, but it will have like a little purple hazy undertone that could look really cool. All right, so let's do that and then we'll finish up and I'll say I'm done here and say adios and have a wonderful Sunday. Okay. Or have a wonderful Monday if you live on the other hemisphere. So I'm just going to go back in here again. I'm going to paint over this moon. And I'm going to paint over these moons. And I'm going to probably lift some of this up because I know I went in pretty heavy. But the goal is to get the paint down. And to get some of that shimmer down over what I already painted. Like that. I'm already seeing it. Are you guys seeing it? It's already got more of a shimmery vibe. Okay. So I'm going to go in and do that again. I'm going to do it with the outside again. Just keep building. Just keep building. Unless, of course, you really like the transparency of watercolor and you like it light, then you're not going to keep building like I do. I already feel like this is doing so much more for this painting, just adding in this one. The person who made this paint is actually from where I am. She lives in Buffalo. And she ended up with a significant issue with her hands. Like I couldn't even tell you what it was, but I know that she couldn't mull her paints anymore. And she just stopped being very active in social medias, and I just felt so awful. She was such an amazing paint maker, obviously, because you're already seeing the effects, but there are so many more. Let me just be clear, there's so many more. So if you're interested in the handmade paints, I don't see too many people selling them here. Most of the big corporations are here, or smaller corporations are here. But go looking around on the famous 4-letter website that begins with an E. They will give you some fun things to look at when it comes to different handmade paints. If you have any direct questions about that, just message me, like DM me, and I can tell you some of my favorite places that you could go for paints that I go. Also, I have a Benable account, which I have posted links to some of my favorite art supplies if you can't see them here. So I'm adding this green. This is, it looks like Reggie. I think, I don't know what it is, but we're going to try it. Get a few more green bits in here. I just have to be careful because the pencil will blend. And I don't really want it to. I am losing some of that yellow, so maybe I should stop. Because I like the yellow way too much. So lifting, lifting, lifting. Just make sure to move it around so it looks like you did it on purpose. If that's the best trick I can give you besides that, make sure to get a water bottle that has a lid on it. It's always make things look like you did it on purpose. Make all of your mistakes look like it was intentional. And then people will think your mistake isn't a mistake at all. All right, I am seeing that shimmer. It's like a subtle shimmer. I love it. And I think we're done, guys. I think we got it. We did it. We have our cauldron with green bubbly flames coming out. And I think we're done. Oh, I did say I was going to do a spider. Maybe I'll do one little spider hanging down. Let's see if I can sneak him in. Let's see what I can do. Yeah. Okay. Maybe like here. I did this last week. It was so cute. Just the simplest little details can have such great impact. This little spider. And if you wanted to, you could create a little web with that, but I think I'm just going to leave him. We'll assume that the web is tucked underneath here and you can't see it. Look how cute. I don't know. I have no idea. Sarah, I have not a clue. Honestly, that's the only problem that I have with handmade paints is that when I buy them, they're all named different ways, right? Like they don't follow the standard names of your paints where it's like gamboge or sap green. They make up their own names, which that's their creative right. They're absolutely allowed to do that and should. But for me, on an organization level, I don't buy a full tin of paints from one company. I buy them here and there and everywhere, and then they all end up in the same tin, and then I forget who they belong to. Like, I know who this belongs to because Cosmic Creation labels CC on the side. But for like this company, I don't remember who this belongs to because it doesn't have, oh wait, yes it does. Oh my God. Is this Addison and Sedgwick? Yeah, this is Addison and Sedgwick. I don't know what that one is called though. I could probably look it up. And then this one, again, there's no name on it, so then I'm not sure who it belongs to. So that's just the only thing I would just, if you know, there are any handmade paint creators that are doing half pans, put your name on it so I can give you credit for it. That's it. But it's so cute. And the bubbles don't look bad. They don't look as bad as I worried they would. The flames look a little bit more in the background than I want them to be. Like I'd rather them be more in the foreground. That would probably take some practice to figure out. But I think the colors are really fun and it just feels like lots and lots of layers. Like you can see the transparent layers around and in between. You can see them up here. You can see the background yellows and the foreground greens. I think it just worked out really nicely. And I don't know if I've ever, outside of sketching, I don't think I've ever painted one before. Does anyone have any questions about anything with regards to my tutorials or my paint supplies or anything like that? Thanks, Red Rabbit. I appreciate you. Oh, are you flattening your hair?
I already did.
Very nice.
It's very dry.
You need it to be a little flatter up here, like right where the bang is, because right now it's got... I mean, I like it, but it's looks very off of everything else. Like if you want to curl it, like curl it with everything else, not like blah boop. Like it looks like wings. This one here.
So dry.
This one. Yeah, well that's because, did you put product in your hair?
Maggie did.
Maggie put product in your hair? Well, that's why it's stiff. It's stiff because you have product. That's why. Yeah.
She put way too much.
Yeah, she did. Oh, the bookshelf is so fun, isn't it? It honestly was like such a simple idea. And then I did a whole bunch. Like this one I posted today. So that's another bookshelf. And then here, I'll show you guys all of them that I did, like the whole series. And then some of them are like mess ups too. So here, I'll pin up the paper because this is the paper that I used. And it's so great because I can just put it back in the tins, which is pretty awesome. But I did the kitty. This one was not my favorite. This one was not my favorite, but it was this one. I liked this one the most. I thought this one was the cutest of all the kitties that I did. I also love that I made it look fluffy, which is really hard when you're trying to think of how to make fluffy kittens. But this one felt pretty authentically fluffy-ish, as I say. Is this on the back of tarot cards? These are postcard papers. So they actually could be turned into postcards if you wanted to. You could actually use a wax medium to protect them if you wanted to send them in the mail. What I like to do with these is I try and make them stickers. And then I use the company Sticker Mule to produce them. And after I edit them and send them off to Sticker Mule, I put them on my website, which there are some there right now if you're interested. This one was the one I did this week for sure. We obviously just did this one now. Here's the witch's hat that we did that was super popular. I really think this is a lizard. Because if it's a kitty cat, this is the tiniest kitty cat in the world. So, I mean, it could be. I loved hearing all of the different ideas, though, about what could be hiding under there. So to make them into stickers, I have scanned them in the past. I do have a scanner. But honestly, with the right app, you can take a photo of anything and it will cut the background out of your photo and just give you this. And as long as you, like, I will always put that back into, what's the app? Procreate. And then in Procreate, I will heighten the video or the image scale on it so that it's stickerable, if that makes sense, because they need to be a certain pixel. Like I think I usually do 25 by 2500, and then that makes the image enough visually to turn it into a sticker, if that makes sense. I know I'm using not very technical language, so yeah, Procreate's very helpful with that. I see the little coal spiders. Yes. Okay, so we've got this one we did last week. I love, love, love this one. This one turned out so good. And I did this live last week. And this is going to be my regular time, guys, I think. If it's not, it'll be somewhere between the 9 and 11 o'clock hour on Sunday mornings. Generally, if I'm not here at 9, it's because I'm taking my daughter to counseling. But if I am here, it's because she doesn't have counseling that week or my husband's taking her. So, but this one was super cute. We did these both last week Sunday. So I loved these because I love doing them side by side and seeing the differences between the two. I think like if I were going to pick a personality, I would definitely be both. Like I think I'm this and I want to be this and I try to be this sometimes, but I'm really just this most of the time. So I also love that I put the spiders on them because it adds so much personality by having little spiders. And then this was the one I posted yesterday with a little broom and hat hook, which was super fun. I loved that one so much. Like, and I was really struggling to know because I put them together first and I made the shelf and I'm like, how am I going to make this look like a wall? And so I'm like, why don't I just put hooks on the wall? And I'm like, oh, let's do heart hooks. And that just turned out so much better than I hoped. This was the original Witch Please, actually. This is the first one I did before I posted the other one. Yes, with the little mushroom jar. Though I really worried I'd screwed this one up. When I was first doing it, I'm like, because I really went in with no sketching on this one. I just did it without, and that's not always my best plan, but it's like my quickest plan. So this was the original. Then I did this one also. So I did lots of brooms because I was trying to figure all that out. This one is the most popular of all of my tutorials, and I absolutely know why. It is so cute and so like fun. Like it's spooky cute. Like you've got this adorable little skull with the heart nose. And the books can be designed any way you want. And all you need to do is make a little bookshelf. And spiderweb or not, it's so fun. The pens that I use are shuttle art pens, Let me see if I can find my shuttle art pens. I have them over here on the side. I can show you. They're just basically gel pens. And here's the funny story about, I'm sorry, I'm walking away. The funny story about this is Shuttle Art gifted them to me. So they're these, okay? And they're like a 30 pack. I'll pin it for you so you can see it. They reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love for you to try our Shuttle Art 30 color pens. And I was like, no thanks. I'm not into pens right now and I don't need them. Because I have so many art supplies, guys. Like, it's ridiculous. And they were like, no, we want you to have them. Please take them and try them. And guys, I could not be more pleased with these pens. Like, especially because, as you can see, this paper is a bit textured. And sometimes pens get caught up in the cold press texture. You often see people doing more pen work on hot press because it's smoother and it's easier to draw on. But with my sketchy style, it still works really well. Like, you can still see the pen work on here. And while it's a little sketchy, messy, that's partially because of the paper. I still really like it. Like, it still really works somehow. So yeah, these are the ones that I use, but I use the black the most, obviously. So, but I just think it's funny that I was like, no, I don't want your pens. And they were like, no, really, take them. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Because honestly, like, I have art supplies that I purchased, and I have art supplies that I have gotten for free. And these I got for free, and I love them. But the expectation is that I make an ad for them, right? And so I didn't really want to make an ad. I didn't want to. And I'm so glad that I did, because I actually use them all the time. I made this one, but I never made it a tutorial because it didn't seem to fit in with all of the other cutesy stuff. And as much as I like the hemlock and it was fun to paint, I just didn't make a tutorial again. I saw your work yesterday and inspired me to watercolor again. Oh, that makes me so happy, Sticks Angel. I love that for you. I love it. And then I did this last week on the same paper, but this was for last week's tutorial with Chelsea. We're doing another one tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing Frog and Toad. She's doing Frog and I'm doing Toad. So after I'm done with you guys, I'm going to start practicing some frogs. Or no, toads. I'm practicing toads. She's doing a frog. The potion one, this is super fun. I would redo this again, maybe without the ink. I didn't love the ink effect on this as much. I think watercolor pencil would have been better. My Ride or Die, this one was the hit. Everyone loves this broom. It's that whole sweepy kind of glam. Like, it's like, you know how like when you go camping, you either like, you're like camping or you're glamping? This feels like a glam broom, like a glam witch, which I love. And then this is another one that I practiced. Just so many brooms because I wasn't sure. I never posted this one. I don't know if I even have a reel or video of this one. Can you what?
Can I cut you up an avocado?
No, thanks. I'm good. Thanks.
I forced Dad to sit down.
You what?
I forced Dad to sit down.
Good. Smart. So this one's cute, but I never posted this one. I didn't really love the bottles. They felt a little too wonky. I think I would try this again, though, because I really like this vase. I think that vase is a vibe. And then the rest of these are just floral. Oh, no, I do have this one, too. This one I did posted this morning, and then this one was from today. So let me just check comments one more time before I leave. Which shelf? This one? Not the pear, not the dandelion. This shelf or this one? I love the shelves. The shelves are so fun, and you can do so many different things with them. I just love them. Oh, with the potion bottles, you like that one? Oh, yay. Thank you, Sarah. What is watercolor pencil? Watercolor pencil is colored pencil that you can reactivate with water. So if I go and I scribble with watercolor pencil, I'll show you really quick on the back of this because I have some right next to me. So let me just grab this tealy color. So if I come on here, it's a very soft colored pencil. And if I go over it with water, it reactivates like that. And you can paint with it. You don't have to, but you can. So see how that kind of worked? So, and then you can go back over it and scribble over it again. And then you can go back over it and move that paint around again, if you choose. I generally use it as mixed media over the top. You can expect that it's not the scribble part or the drawing part isn't entirely going to go away, but it will dim. And some people like using watercolor to sketch ideas out first if they're painting with watercolor for the purpose of they don't have to worry about pencil marks when they're finished. Let's see. Oh, the shelf one with the skull. I love this one. This one's my favorite. And obviously it's everyone else's favorite too. Yes, I'm really a big fan of watercolor pencils. The watercolor pencils that I like the most, that are the strongest pigmented, are not here in the TikTok shop. They are called Stabilo pencils. I'm just gonna grab you this one. What's this one? I'll show you the red and this is the black. Yeah. I'll show you that on the back of this too. So obviously this pencil, you can just move it around with water and see the difference, right? So here, this is a Stabilo watercolor pencil. They're called Stabilo All pencils. You can pretty much use them on anything, glass, paper, cardboard, whatever. And if I go over the red, it's very strongly pigmented in such a good way. And if I go over the black, very, very strongly pigmented, right? So I love using these as well over my postcards. The only problem is you're not going to be able to protect your postcards as well if you use water, like wax medium, to protect it, because this is so pigmented. It does kind of pick up the soft pencil a little bit and smear it around. And these are called Stabilo pencils. And these are also watercolor pencils, but highly pigmented, like way more pigmented. So paper, glass, plastic, metal, these are called Stabilo All. And I learned about these when I was taking mixed media abstract classes a few years ago. Right? I mean, seriously, Zach, like they're super highly pigmented, the black especially. I do have other ones. This one's not that. Let's see. I just want to make sure, because they don't sell them in lots of colors. They only sell them in a few colors. So I have blue and yellow as well. I use the black all the time though. The black is the one I use most of the time. I have a white one, but I'm not super impressed by the white one. I'll show it to you. So here's the white. Maybe it looks better over black paper. I don't know. I already used that one. Blue and yellow. And then if I go over it with a brush, I'm making a mess here, hold on. And again, this is not in my shop, but if you go on IG, I have a link to Benable, and I do have some watercolor art supplies over there that you can't find here. So if you're looking for another list. But see, look how bright that yellow is. Isn't that amazing? And you can repaint with it somewhere else on the page. That's how strong the pigment is. Here's the blue. Again, you can repaint with it somewhere else. So they're both, all of the watercolor pencils from Stabilo are amazing. They're just not here. You're just not going to be able to buy them here. And it's called Stabilo. So Stabilo All pencils. And they're considered water soluble or watercolor pencils that you can just reactivate with water on the page. Okay. Can you explain how to paint a night sky? Do you do a sketch or just paint the sky black and then paint? So I'm going to be completely honest with you, Patty. I don't do landscapes very much, and that would include night skies. It's not that I can't do them. I just am not very good at them because I don't practice them enough. I would recommend, if you're looking to do a night sky, there are some really amazing watercolor artists. One of them is named Madeline Carey. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'll write it down for you. Let me see. I'll put it right here. So Madeline. I think I'm spelling her name correctly. Carrie and Amber Lane. I think they're more active on IG, but both of them do landscape paintings, and they do. Amber does a lot more forest scenes, but she'll do sometimes like those, what are those called? Those Northern Lights. So they'll do a lot of those, but both of them are very different styles, but they do a lot of those types of paintings, Patty. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, there are other people here. Is it Art by Lindsay on TikTok? Art by Lindsay. think that's how it's spelled. She's here on TikTok. She does minis. She might have some night sky paintings. Really, it's most of the people who do night sky paintings are usually adding some sort of like gouache or white pen over the top to make it, to make it look like the sky is lit up with stars. But like this is what I would use, Dr. P.H. Martin Bleed Proof White. Also not in the TikTok shop. I've never seen it. But again, you can go shopping and look for something like this if you need to. It's a lot of layering, Patty. Like, so you start off with a base color, you dry it. You layer again, you dry it. You layer it again, you dry it. Like lots of that. I don't think, depending on what you want is your like foreground, like do you want trees in the front? Do you want no trees in the front? I think that depends on what the background looks like. Usually the foreground is the last part you paint. So the part in the front with the trees or the part in the front with like the light poles or whatever you're doing, that's usually the last thing you paint. And then the first thing you paint would be the background with lots of water and lots of layering. Okay, Patty? I'm sorry I can't really help you with that so much. It's not really, I do a lot of white backgrounds, as you can see. So backgrounds aren't really my style. I do tend to lean into this stuff. I think because I just love focusing on the subject more than I do on the background. Do you have a mini dryer to speed up the drying process? I do, Sticks. This is what I use. I use this. This is a heat gun. They come in different brands. This is the most well-known heat gun brand that I know of. What's up, dude?
Your kitten was chewing on this.
Oh, on the tree? Can you put it in the basement, actually? We don't really need it up here right now. This one is in my shop. The Chandler Heat Tool is probably one of the more popular ones. I've had this for about 3, maybe 4 years now. And basically, if you look at the barrel, there's like a metal barrel on the inside and a plastic rim around the outside. And it comes in, for me, depending on what you're buying, because this is old. And I mean, at least for me, it's old. It's gotten a low heat setting and a high heat setting. And basically, when I throw this on the page, so like this is still wet, I would point it at the wet parts to help it dry. And it usually takes no more than 10 to 20 seconds to dry whatever I've just painted. Now, you could have issues with the paper curling, but that's not a bad thing. That's a normal thing. Like that happens all the time. This is completely dry now. And anything that's on my hands is from previous stuff. Okay? But I only recommend this if you are an active creator, like you are regularly creating. Otherwise, it's just one more supply in your box of supplies that isn't going to be used actively. I bought this too early in my journey with art, and it sat in a box for a really long time. So while I've been using this for 3 years, I've probably had it for 5. And it was one of those things because I painted at my kitchen table for the longest time that because of that, it was one of those things that I couldn't just have easy access to it. I have to go and I find it and bring it back out and then put it away. And with kids, I just could not be regularly unplugging and plugging it in without, losing time. So I definitely love it. I would definitely recommend it for people who are going online or actively creating and creating at a fast pace and they need the things to dry and move along for them. Like it's the only way they're going to get their painting done is if they are able to do it quickly. That does help with the process. So that would be my answer to that question. I have short hair now for 10 years. I've used my hair blow dryer for art since. Oh, really? Do what you gotta do, girl. I would say my only issue with a regular blow dryer is it takes so much longer to dry with a regular blow dryer. But girl, you do you. If that is what works best for you, you do it. I just know for me, I need it like on point immediately, 10 to 20 seconds, and that usually works best for me. And like I said, I bought it way too soon. I should never have bought it when I bought it. So, all right, so these are all the things. Again, I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Frog and Toad, Chelsea Designs and I are going to be painting Frog and Toad. And then starting tomorrow, I'm going to start posting some investigations into hot press, cold press, and rough press. Like what's the difference? How does it feel? Why should you pick one over the other? So tomorrow I'm starting with Bao Hung watercolor paper. It looks like, wait, I want to make sure I'm giving you the right one because I have so many art supplies over here right now. Where is it? What did I do with it? I know I stacked it somewhere. Wait, right here. Okay. Yep, it's like right in front of my face. So I'm going to do a study tomorrow on Baohong watercolor paper. This is hot press. And I'm going to show you how I paint a pumpkin on a hot press paper, on a cold press paper, and on a rough press paper. So you guys can kind of see the difference between the three. And then you're going to get my opinion at the end as to which I prefer and why. And is there really that much of a difference when you're painting on the different types of watercolor paper? So Baohong is tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, it's going to be Hanamula, which I may be mispronouncing it. I really am trying to get it right. But let me show you this brand. It's going to be the same thing, but I do find there is quite a difference between all the different companies. Hanamula is a German watercolor paper and Baohong is a Chinese watercolor paper. So I'm really thinking about leaning into the comparison between German, or not German, but European watercolor paper and Asian watercolor paper, because I feel like they're the most distinctly different from each other, and they're equally amazing, but in different ways. And I want to talk about that and really investigate that this week. So I'm really going to, it's not going to be tutorials so much this week as me going through like how to paper and all the things. How do you know what to shop for? And what would I recommend at the end? Knowing that not everyone's going to have the same opinion as me because all of the paper is different. And then at some point, probably soon, I do want to do an investigation on the watercolor postcards because I know they're super seasonal. And these ones right here are just the best. I just love them. I love the tin. I love the storage. And I love the rounded corners on them. And Funto is sending me some. I've never used Funto watercolor paper before, so I'm excited about that. And this is Potentate, and you cannot buy this anywhere except in the TikTok shop or on Temu. Those are the only two places you can find them. If you live in the States, that's the only two places you can find them. So that would be something to look forward to this week, you guys. I'm definitely excited about posting that stuff. Tonight I'll post the intro, just kind of explain my process as to why I'm doing it. And then I'm thinking over the next month or so, you're going to see probably, I'm thinking of doing a Monster Mash week where we do different monsters every day for 5 days. I'm thinking about doing a ghost week where we do different ghosts in different settings. I'm also thinking about doing spooky frames, like spooky frames that you might see in a haunted house on a wall. So all of that stuff is what I'm thinking about for the next few weeks. So if you haven't followed me already, definitely jump on that follow. I would love for you to kind of hang out while I'm posting all of those tutorials. And in the meantime, my little black cat is rubbing all over me, expecting love and affection. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go have some lunch. And then I'm going to work on a toad for my tutorial tomorrow night. Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. You've been the best. And I'm so glad I got to paint this with you. These are not normally the colors I use ever. But because of my paints today, that really helps. So love you guys. You're the best. Have an awesome day. See you tomorrow.